Well, looks like we're live for our first live broadcast of 2018 for Pixel Chatter. Let's go. Welcome everybody to Pixel Chatter. Tommy, still in Australia, or have you headed back home yet? What's going on? All right. Good morning, Brian, Gianni, Sam. Good to see you guys here. Happy New Year, John. Thank you. Lice from Canada. G'day. M. Fisher. Good evening from Germany. Ren. Happy New Year. G'day. Still in Terrigal. Cool. Going fine. Good stuff. Chance. G'day. Hey, good to see everybody here. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Now, I might just noticing. There we go. It's all right. My internet was going a bit slow there, so hopefully everything was okay for you. G'day, Ryan. How you going? All right, let's get stuck straight into things. Got a jam-packed show today for the first show of 2018. And I wanted to start off with... I had a good Christmas. Didn't get out and do any photography. I know that sounds funny, but just decided to chill out. I went to Fiji for a couple of weeks and then spent a couple of weeks at home. Got to go back to work on Monday, and then I'm away again for a week. I'll be taking the camera and doing a bit of vlogging up on Nelson's Bay, so looking forward to that. So definitely had a much-needed break, which was good, and hopefully all of you did as well. I hope you enjoyed the new year. We did have a Christmas VIP hangout that was kind of cool, and I'll get to that shortly, where we all had to dress up in Christmas outfits. Not too many people turned up. I imagine most people were away or on holidays, but we had a bit of fun doing that. So that's what we were up to. All right, let's a couple of things I wanted to tell you about. First of all, if you haven't already, I'm just going to put it into the chat box. Check out the Tassie tour we've got coming up in May 2018, May this year. The Tassie tour. I'll put it on the screen as well. If you go to that address, that's a bit.ly/Tassie tour. You'll get all the information about a 5-day, 4-night spectacular. I want to call it a spectacular. A trip where you're going to come away with myself and a fella called Michael Sneddick. Now, Michael Sneddick is a wildlife photographer. He writes for Australian Photography magazine. He is a Nikon, one of the, I think, 2 or 3 in Australia, Nikon teacher that they have, like an endorsed Nikon teacher. And he's just a great all-round guy, really good photographer, runs tours all year round. Just before Christmas, he was posting pictures of penguins from wherever he was, I think in the Antarctic. Is that where the penguins are? I think so. Anyway, it was absolutely amazing stuff. So if you want to come and join me, we still have 3 spots left. That's all we have. There is 1 spot available in the first week, and there's 2 spots available in the second week, and then it's fully booked out with 20 people. So if you want to get there, if you didn't get the Christmas present that you wanted, then this is your chance to spoil yourself and grab the Christmas present you wanted. Alrighty. I'm just making a couple of adjustments to screens here. Now, I've got to ask my lice there, what do I think about the Nikon D850? I actually haven't had any real in-depth look at the Nikon D850, and I know that sounds funny, and I haven't seen one in the flesh, but I am, planning to take a look at the Nikon D850 before probably at least Tassie. But I haven't made my mind up. I've got the Nikon D810, which is a great camera, and I've really got to decide what my next move is. So I had thought about going to the Fuji GFX system, which is that medium format system. But I just haven't decided yet. So at this stage, I'm still shooting with the D810. I've still got the Fuji X-T1 that I'm not sure whether to get the X-T2 or not. I've got a few decisions to make around my photography gear. Or do I just sit where I am and keep putting my money into traveling to places, because that works really well. So, yeah, I don't know. Got the good old Pixel Chatter Cup, which we'll have to work with Scott on making this merchandise available so everyone can have a Pixel Chatter Cup. Alrighty. Yeah, so that's the Tassie tour. Also, a reminder too, if you're not already a VIP, you can become a VIP by going to patreon.com/on3legs. And for $2 a month, join the VIP group. You can hang out with us online and special VIP hangouts. The one that we had before Christmas, we, for the first time, unmuted everybody. We had our cameras going and we were chatting about all sorts of things, photography, and there was a lot of good learnings were happening, a lot of sharing of knowledge. It was a good, it was good. It was a good hangout. So we're going to be doing the next hangout January 24 for the VIP. So if you're not a VIP, make sure you take a look at that. If you are a VIP, put that in your calendar, January 24, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it's 12 hours difference from this time, but on a Wednesday in Australia, which is, I think, a Tuesday in the US and the UK. I don't know. It's all over the place. But anyway. Alrighty. And I wanted to, I don't know if you remember or not, but a couple of episodes, well, last episode, I think it was, or a couple of episodes ago, I'm just going to make a couple of changes here. There we go. Where are we? Beautiful cup. Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, okay. What happened there? But I thought I had all the technical issues ironed out, but I am working on it. Here we go. I'm going to show you. Oh. All right. So I'm going to jump over to this one here. So a couple of episodes ago, I announced that I was going to give this away at the special Christmas edition VIP hangout. And I don't know whether I did it on this show or if I did it in the VIP group. I can't remember. I think I did it in this show. And we had a pretty fun time. We did a VIP hangout, and the strap was given away to the person that the boss thought had the best outfit. And she didn't appear on the show, but she had her say. And the winner, let me just bring that up here. There we go. So there's some examples there. That was a Tommy in the top left corner there, and Ren Thielen. He had a Kuba hat on with some Christmas lights. Thought it was a great effort. And so Ren is who won the camera strap, and that's been sent out to him. And I believe he's received it. Here's his little message. Well, looks like it's not working. Anyway, that's weird. Let's try again. Here we go. Anyway, Ren got the strap. He's received the strap and he's excited about using it. So congratulations, Ren Thielen, for doing that. I don't know why the video won't play. There you go. There you go. Sometimes these things happen. All right. So let's jump straight into tips. Lightroom tips. Let me just have a look at the chat box very quickly. Live says medium format is heavier. Yeah. Looks like I had a razor attack. A razor attack. What do you mean? Like, I need a shave. Do you mean my hair? I definitely had a haircut before I went to Fiji. Is that what you mean? I don't know what you mean. We need caps too. Yeah, okay. We could do with caps. At this stage, I don't have any, but I'll look into it. Yeah, maybe he's camera shy. No, he's definitely not camera shy, but I had the video. I don't know why. It's supposed to load up and play, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, I haven't ironed out all the technical issues. It worked in my little rehearsal before I went live today. It worked, and now it won't work whilst we're live. So maybe I need to change the setting. I'm not sure, but anyway, Ren got the strap, and now we'll hopefully he'll put it to good use. It's a beautiful strap. So yeah, all right. So Lightroom. Let me just bring up some images. Let's find something. Here we go. Let's do this one here. Okay. All right. So I'm in Lightroom. I'm just about to show you my screen. The new Lightroom December issue came out, and they made some more with an update, and they made some changes to it to make it better. And I don't know how many of you are using Lightroom, but they keep making it better and better and better, which is kind of cool. So this last update, they said that they updated the auto button. Now, I'm not a big fan of anything auto, but if it saves time, then it's a good thing to use. And so I thought I would give it a test. I'm going to show you how the auto button works. Oh, it looks like a scratch on my cheek. I don't know where. I think I'm all good. So let's jump into the Lightroom catalog here and have a look. There we go. All right, let me get rid of that logo up there. There we go. All right. So this is some images that I took some time ago up on the central coast of a place called Paddy's Wharf. In fact, Tommy, if you're up there, I don't know if you've been to this place or not, but it's a great place. And I took a whole bunch of different photos. And so what I'm going to do is just jump into the develop module. Now, this is an unprocessed image. What they've done, if you have a look over on the right-hand side, in this tone box, so if you look at all the different controls you've got here for processing your images, the top one is basic. If you drop down into the basic and you look in the tone box where the exposure control is, the contrast control, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, clarity, vibrance, and saturation, there's an auto button. And it's never been very good. In the December release of the new Lightroom, they said they've upgraded this auto function. So I thought we'd test it today and have a look and see what it does. Let's just do that. I won't tell you my thoughts until afterwards. I might spoil the fun. Here we go. Let's hit the auto buttons. I'm hitting the auto button. Alrighty. Now, it's done a few things here. It increased my exposure by 0.05. I'm always interested to see what it does based on all its algorithms. Now, in fact, if I just go to here, this is where it talks about these new features on the Adobe website. It says enhanced auto to automatically apply the best edits. Automatically apply the best edits in your photos. So start your edits with Auto, which uses Adobe Sensei to intelligently apply adjustments based on a photo's light and color characteristics. The Auto feature now uses advanced machine learning to automatically apply the best edits for these slider controls in your photos. Exposure, contrast, with those ones I just went through before. It also includes the ability to optimize the adjustments of the photo even after cropping has been applied. A big deal. And then it says they've been trained with thousands of professionally shot and manually edited photos to evaluate and correct an image, just like a skilled photographer. Well, so let's have a look and see what it did, because I'm always interested to see what's going on. And you can see, so it's increased the exposure slightly, it's reduced the contrast, reduced the highlights, increased the shadows, so that's a good choice. It's increased the whites, hasn't touched the blacks, and didn't touch the clarity, vibrance, or saturation. So to me, I go, well, I'm still going to have to make some changes here. Now, as you can see, if you look here, that's a whole bunch of blown highlights right there. So it's given us blown highlights. It certainly has, if I just undo it, you'll see it certainly has picked up the fact that the shadows are a bit dark, and it's tried to work out how to enhance those. So if I hit that auto button again, you can see that it's tried to enhance those. Now let's just double check and see what it's doing. Why it hasn't? Okay, the blacks are pretty much on their limit. The whites, you can see that I think it took it just a little bit too far with the whites. And because it has reduced my contrast as well. I don't know why, but maybe it thought it was a bit contrasty. I don't know. For me, the highlights need to be a lot lower. And you can see, as soon as we bring the highlights down, you get more colour in the sky. So, and I probably would have dropped the exposure and increased the shadows a bit more to get the right balance. Now you can see that straight away, the auto function has probably not worked as well as you just manually going in there and making the changes. But it's definitely, it's doing a better job than what it did in the past. I'll give them that. And someone talked about the auto horizon. I'm going to deliberately move the horizon off center. There we go. Let's do that. And we'll just see what the auto horizon does then. Let's have a look and see how that's going. If I go into crop, and I don't know if you know you can do this, but if you go into crop and you hit auto on the angle, it's supposed to work out the horizon. It's done a pretty good job there. Yep. Okay. Seems to be working. It looks for things in the image and tries to work out what is supposed to be horizontal. Now, but for me, I think, I think the image, I can do a better job at editing than Adobe has, unfortunately. So there you go. There you go. That's the new feature anyway. So it was released in the December release. It's the new auto feature for Adobe, and it'll give you an idea of some of the changes in the first instance, what direction. So if you've got very little, I guess, post-processing experience, the slider's pretty much moved in the right direction. Just, I would say, not the contrast and exposure. I didn't agree with those, but everything else I agreed with. And you remember, it's still automation, so it's not going to always deliver what you're after. So be really careful with automation, because that's the challenge. Alrighty, let's have a look in the chat box. What's going on? What's your opinion on the Sony A7R III? Says Visual Narrative. Never looked at it. Northeast Outdoors Morning. Brian from Wodonga. G'day, Brian from Wodonga. Love these Aussie names. Somewhere down in Victoria, I believe. Ryan, Auto Horizons. Yep, gets it right 98% of the time. That's the only auto I trust. Yeah, I understand why. G'day, Tim. G'day, Chance says you're getting about the same. Rick, you're a dinosaur, only got Lightroom 4. Well, if it works for you, mate, it works for you. I'm a great believer that it doesn't matter what you've got. A lot of people are really, big on having the latest and the greatest, and it's not about that. It's definitely not about having the latest and the greatest. There's still people out there shooting with film cameras, getting amazing photos. So you don't even need to have a digital camera, and you're still going to do well. Alrighty. So that was Lightroom 2. All right, let's jump straight into some image critiquing. Hopefully everything is going well with the stream. I'll just double check that whilst we're here. Let's check that the stream is all working well. Good stream status. Yeah, excellent. Fantastic. All right. So let's jump across into, if I can find my screen. There we go. Back into the library, and we are going to go to my image critique collection. And get rid of these two. There we go. Alrighty. 3 really nice images this week. I'll pop them up on the screen. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Beautiful. Everything's working. Everything is working. All right. So 3 images today. And the first one, top left, is Dan MacPhail. Dan has sent us in a shot of a jetty, as you can see, which I'm always a big fan of. Second shot is from Ren Thielen, and that looks like it's somewhere near Mandurah, is it, Ren, where I was staying that time? I think I recognise those posts. I think that's where it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know the area that well. And then Daniel Korsland has sent us this Milky Way shot in from Norway, which is awesome. So we've got these 3 images to jump into. So let's start off with Dan's image. What happened? What happened? Okay, I must have still had 3 selected. Just give me the one. There we go. Okay. So let's just jump back into the library for a tick so I can see the details. Let's do this. We'll look at the EXIF information. Now, if you are going to send some photos in, by the way, please, I've had a few people send me images using Flickr links. And the Flickr links, so the Flickr links are okay. Means that you send me your photos via Flickr and I can't download them. So, please, if you're going to send me some photos for critique, send them to ben@onthreelegs.com and make sure that, and that's with the word 3. So ben@onthreelegs.com, and make sure you send them as, 3,000 or 4,000 on the longest edge number of pixels, and that way I can send them. Don't send me Dropbox links, don't send me Flickr links. It's just too difficult for me to be able to access them. It just brings a new complexity. When you email them directly to me, then I've got them. And I won't use them for anything else. What I do after the critique is I delete them off my hard drive, so your photos are safe. All right, let's jump back into the screen. Here we go. Alrighty. So this one here from Dan MacPhail, and it's a jetty somewhere. I don't have the location. I probably did in the original email actually, but I think I've messed up and I haven't written it down. Anyway, it's a jetty, and it's a jetty with a building on the end, as you can see, which is kind of cool. And we saw a photo of this. He sent in a sunset one or sunrise one that we did in one of the previous shows, and but it was with the sun setting through this hut, I think, from memory. If we get up nice and close on that hut, let's see if we can get it a bit closer. You'll see that it's a nice little hut there. Beautiful. Anyway. So this one you can see is obviously taken at a different time of day. So let's look at the EXIF data and see what's going on here. So he's taken this with a Sony camera, 7-35mm lens, f2.8, 18mm at f18, 20 seconds, so a nice 20-second exposure. ISO 50, that's good. And it was at 5:55 AM, according to the EXIF information. So it's prior to sunrise. And it's probably what you can see maybe here. This lighter part of the sky might be sunrise. And I'm not sure. It's definitely colour, but it's like maybe he's desaturated areas, or maybe it's just a grey morning. I don't know. From a technical point of view, I can't see anything wrong with that. Shot at the lowest ISO. I mean, that's the most important thing you can do when you've got a dark scene like this, is you want to shoot with that ISO as low as you can get it, because you'll get noisy grain. Now, this is a JPEG, and it's not a huge file, so I'm seeing some. But you'll get noisy grain if you don't get that ISO down. So you've got to make sure you do that. Everything else is fine. All right, so let's look at it from a composition point of view. A couple of things going on here straight away that are bugging me a little bit. One is, and I don't know how well you can see this on your screen, but there is a bow in the Jetty, and that's just going to come down to correcting things in lens correction. And, you know, it may... you can do profile correction if you've got the lenses loaded, or you can just do a manual correction, but I can see there's a bit of a bow here. And this happens with the wide-angle lenses for some reason. So you just want to remove that. Now, you can see I over-exaggerate it by going that way. This is what I'm talking about. It's this bulge that happens with the wide-angle lens. So you've always got to just minus a little bit. Now, the challenge with that is you are going to lose a little bit of your image. So you can see, if you have a look at the top and the sides of the image, that we've lost a little bit of the image, but that's okay because I think this should actually be cropped. So I'm going to do that now. Something like this. Yeah, I like that. So, you know, we've now got rid of that little bit of distortion and cropped out those edges and sort of made it into a panoramic. Now we could actually, this guy is not super exciting, so I would actually even crop down just that little bit more, something like that. And that's, you know, to me that's a little bit more appealing than what it was. Now you probably all know what I'm going to say about these lights over here. To me, they don't add any value to the image whatsoever. In fact, I'm finding them distracting. Let me just zoom out. You know, we've got this beautiful jetty leading out, and then you can see over here on the right these lights on the horizon, to me, aren't adding any value. And I think the horizon might be slightly out as well. Let's just quickly go to that auto setting and see what it does. Yeah, it did. Just a very, very slight correction, which is cool. Okay. So I'm going to remove these lights, and very simple to do. Grab the healing brush and just heal them away. Do something like this. There we go. It should pick a good spot to heal them with because it's intelligent. It's very clever at this, especially when you have a good solid line on the horizon. I just said that though as it screwed up and screwed up again, but probably because it's running out of space over here to find places to use. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. All right. Now, I've done that rough, but you get the idea. There's also a couple of weird little dots here, and I don't know exactly what they are, if they're posts or maybe they're something with this camera sensor. I don't know, but we're going to get rid of those too because they're also a bit on the odd side. So we'll just get rid of those. And let's just check the rest of the horizon whilst we're zoomed in. Make sure there's nothing else weird. All right. So once again, just little things like that. And you know, this funny bit here, I'll leave it. It looks, I probably would fiddle with that as well, that line. But as you can see, if I give you the before and after, there's the before, there's the after. Okay, so that was with the distortion on the lights. That's taking away the distortion of the lights. Okay. See the difference there? Okay. My next thing I would do, I actually find this down here distracting as well. And you can remove it, or we could just dull it down. So let's just dull it down. Let's grab a radial filter. And let's just put it over this light, like so. These are great, these little filters. And let's just drop the exposure down on that area, or actually not too much, and the highlights down on that area. And then what I'll do is we'll hit Control, duplicate, and then grab the duplication, do the same over there. All right. And now we've just, if you have a look, before and after, we've just reduced the intensity of those just a little bit. So we're not removing them, but just reduce the intensity. All right. Now there's something going on down here, this hut too, that I'm not happy with, and it's a bit of haloing, and it's just because the lights are on. So I might do the same thing. Actually, I'll just grab a radial filter, Stick it over here. Oh, saturation's up. I didn't see that. Don't know why that's doing. And just reduce the highlights. See that? Just on that area. And you can see straight away all the red disappears from the where the now I've made it too dark. Where the highlights were blown, it's reducing that. But as you can see, it's just made it too dark up there. So just got to make sure I'm gonna bring it right in. So I don't want to create a dark halo. I just want to reduce the intensity of the hut. Oh, there we go. Let's try that and see how that looks. Let's just feather it out a bit more. Let's see what happens. Let's have a look. That's a bit better. Once again, before, after. So it's just about making those little changes, and there is something going on in the sky here. I don't know how I would fix that quickly in Lightroom, but you know, once again, I see a bit of darkness there that I wouldn't be happy with. Let me just go back down to these because I think I might have had the saturation up and I didn't even realise. I wonder what. Yeah, we don't want those coloured. Actually, I'm going to reduce the saturation in those. Those two down there. If you have a look now, that's that one there and this one here. Let's do the same on this one. Just get rid of the colour out of it so it's less. I must have saturated something. See, my saturation slider was up. I didn't even notice that. There we go. Oh, that's better. I'm going to reduce the saturation on the one over here too because I think it's too colourful. It's a bit out of place. So let's just get rid of a bit of the colour there. Not too much, just a little bit. There we go. Let's it's too bright. Let's try that. It's got a moody feel to it, hasn't it? There we go. So before and after. So not a lot of changes. Distortion, got rid of those distracting things up there on the horizon. Just reduced these two light flares down here. If you ever looked before and after, just the intensity of those, and same with the hut. And we get a bit of a different look. Yeah, it's funny, you know, it's because it was shot at 20 seconds, but it looks to me like it might be more than one exposure when I look at the water. For 20 seconds, I would expect it to be smoother than that, unless it was a very calm day, which it could have been. Definitely could have been. Alrighty, there you go. So that's that photo. Thanks for sending that in, Dan. Great spot, wherever that is. Love it. Just love it. I love a good jetty, as everyone knows. Jetties are my favourite. Alright, just finishing off my... Damien. Bose Bever. Morning, Ben. Greetings from a Dutchie in South Africa. G'day. Ryan, I agree. It's a simple auto edit depending on whose program. It's always going to suit the Yep, absolutely. Northeast Outdoors. Wodonga's in Northeast Victoria. Great. Oh, that photo was in Bunbury, was it, Ren? Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Hey, Dave's Tattoo. G'day, Dave. Still getting used to Queensland time. Yeah, I don't know why they don't have daylight savings. Kind of silly. G'day, Greg. Photography Australia. Happy New Year to you too, buddy. Barracuda. Morning. Alrighty, let's jump into the next one. So the next one I've got is from Ren Thielen. Let's just jump across to that. All right, here we go. Bunbury, WA. Bunbury, Certainly, all right, let me see. Okay, you should be able to see me now and hear me. I don't know what went on there. The whole thing just crashed. I've never had that happen before. Too hard on my gear. Yes, I think so, Barracuda. Too hard on my gear. And boy, oh boy. It takes about an hour for me to set the show up with this live streaming software, because you've got to put all the shots and everything into the player. And that crashing has meant I've just lost it all. So, need a Mac. I've got a Mac. I've got a 27-inch Mac with 36 gigabytes of RAM, whatever it is. 32 gigabytes of RAM, all upgraded. Anyway, all right. So what this means is I'm going to have to quickly set a shot up on the fly here because it deleted all of my shots. So we're going to go with that one. Full screen. We'll get the Mac up. Come on. Audio will be this. Okay. Let's try this again. Hopefully. Need a newer Mac? My gosh, this one I only bought like last year. It's nearly $5,000. Dust buddies. Am I at the end of the jetty with that computer? Yeah, I wish I was. These live streams, I tell you what, a lot of people, they always say don't do anything live with kids or animals. I just say don't do anything live. A lot of fun though. I love doing the live show because we get this interaction. You don't get that. Yeah, when I do a vlog and I release it, I certainly get interaction in the comment section, but you don't get the live interaction. So, all right, let's see if we can get stuck back to where we left off. All right. So we were having a look at Ren's picture, and we were having a look at it from a... now I've lost the connection with my mouse. There we go. Yep, good stuff. There's another one. Oh, there we go. Connected again. All right. So we were looking at it from a technical aspect, and then we'll have a look at the composition. Okay. So this one was Bunbury Waterway. He did actually put that in the file name. Shot at... midday, 12:44 p.m., which I'm always hesitant to shoot in the in that middle period of the day. And you might have seen the last vlog video that I put up was actually shooting in the middle of the day. It's quite a tricky time of the day to shoot. Shot with a Nikon D7200 18-35mm 1.8 lens, ISO 100, which is always good to go as low as you can go at 35mm, 5 seconds at f8. So I'm assuming, Ren, you've used a filter of some sort, because at f8, at that time of the day, to do 5 seconds, you must have used a filter of some sort to get that length of shutter speed, like a maybe it was a big stopper or something. All right, so technically, all good. Let's jump into the develop module and have a look at what we could do to improve the image itself. And hopefully, Ren, if you are there, you can sort of give us an idea of what did you use a filter? If so, what sort of filter? Because to get 5 seconds, I would say you would have to have. Okay. I'm going to hit the auto button. Let's just see what happens. Wow. That's interesting. So on top of your edits, 10-stop filter, thought so. On top of your edits, it increased the exposure, increased the contrast, reduced the highlights, increased the shadows, increased the whites, reduced the blacks when I hit the auto button. And I think it looked much better before I hit the auto button. So it's interesting, Lightroom. They said anything auto. All right, so let's talk about composition first. This composition is, to me, is probably a bit busy. And what I mean by there's a lot going on. And There's nothing for me. I mean, these posts are the focal point. But if we put the rule of thirds on, you'll see that pretty much none of the posts are on an intersection. And so to me, if you've got something that is a focal point, really be careful about your composition to make sure that you line it up on an area of the image that's going to help it stand out. And straight away, for me, it just felt a bit flat, and I think that's why. Now, if you have a look, the intersections for the rule of thirds are in the water, and there's nothing on them. If we were to straight away crop these up like this, let's say, yeah, let's do that. Let's crop like that. Straight away, you can see that the posts become a much more bigger part of the image. Still not what I would want, but it just gives you an idea. It just shows you a bit more that we've got a bit more going on. The other option, let's just do another crop, is to not have that one on the end in the image. You can crop it something like this. It's a bit more of a pano, and then you've got these rocks. So there's a lot of different things that you could do. I don't know Bunbury at all, but for me, I would always prefer to get a little bit more. I would rather see them as a line out rather than a line across. And what happens when you think with your foreground, if you can get your foreground leading out to something, it's always going to have a better impact. So once again, I'll get rid of that crop that I did. For example, the eye is more trained to follow a line like these rocks here. And these rocks actually then, having these rocks here, because of the strong desire for your eye to follow something leading into the image, what's called a leading line, it sort of detracts from everything else. So you've got to be really careful. So for me, I probably wouldn't have shot this shot. I would have shot it from a different angle. Let's really crop it in now and see what, if we wanted to make these posts the heroes, let's remove the rocks which are a distraction. And let's do something like that. Now to me, that's looking good. And then, the sky at the top, is a bit of a challenge. Now, the other thing to keep in mind when you're shooting things is you've got the benefit when you're there as the photographer on the spot to be able to compose and fix things there that you can't fix later in software. There's some things you can, of course, but there's a lot of things that can't. So, for example, perspective. And perspective is the angle from where you're shooting from. So here, you'll see that the top of these the top of these posts are intersecting right with the beach, and they just get lost. So you've got two choices. You either want them like this, where they're going to have the water as the background, and that's going to separate them from the rest of the image, or you'd want them above the horizon. So the only way you're going to do that is to either get lower. Now, the lower you get, these posts are going to increase in height in relation to the horizon. The higher you get, the lower they're going to get. They're going to reduce in height. So, always think about perspective. And this to me is something that is really easy to make this mistake. I've done it heaps where you have something that just blends into the background, and it's what happens, especially in the middle of the day like this, where the light is not helping you because the light's not creating the three-dimensional sort of feel. So you've got to really work harder to give yourself that feel. So here, by letting these blend into the background, you've actually taken away some of the three dimensions, because it's a foreground, but it's not a strong three-dimensional foreground because you've shot it across the frame, if that makes sense. So I'd always think about how can I do that. Now let's just see if I can sort of just get some of the definition out. Those clouds in the sky are beautiful. I really like the clouds. I would probably be tempted to give this a real pano treatment, something like this. And let's just really work on, I'm going to drop the exposure just that little bit more. So the reflections come out in the water when I do that. Look at that, that's nice. So I'm just going to drop it just a little bit about there. Colour slightly out, so we're just going to fix the colour. So the whites are white. There we go. Give it a little bit of contrast. Now let's give it a bit of clarity, and then I would focus some clarity. Get a clarity brush and grab a bit of clarity on a brush and just go over each of the posts with some clarity. Okay, they're your heroes. These are your heroes. And it's great to try this type of thing, by the way, to get out in the middle of the day with a 10 stopper and do a longer exposure. Will really start to teach you about light and shutter speeds and apertures. It's a great thing to do. All right. Let me just, I think I need to just change the, get out of that. Just need to change the colour a little bit more. In fact, you could go for like a faded sort of, old time sort of look like that. You could definitely do that. I won't. Let's just bring this back to where it needs to be. Oh, a bit too far. Yeah. So that sort of has brought the detail in those. I'm also going to just hit that auto button. See what it does. That's funny, isn't it? I'm just playing with the auto buttons today. That was the auto straighten. As you can see, it was way out. So we'll do it manually instead. You can see why it's getting confused. There's a bit of distortion or something there that's even confusing my eyes. And then I would definitely do something to settle down this sky. Let me just start that again. Oh, I think the sky just needs to be tamed down a bit. So I'm just going to put a graduated filter up there. Reduce the exposure a bit, something like that. Now, if we have a look at the before and the after. Before and after. So you can just see the difference, and I can see, just reading the notes there, Ren has said there was no processing on this shot. Yeah, okay, cool. So it was good. You got all the elements right on scene, and as you can see, just by a little bit of, cropping and creativity, you can certainly get things happening. I'm still not happy with that horizon. Let's have a look at it. It might be something's distorted somewhere. Something is just, looks like that's going downhill now. Anyway, you get the picture. There's definitely some distortion somewhere, or something's not right. What is going on with this horizon? I think what it is that the foreground, and this is just a trick on the eye, the foreground over here is sort of closer than over here, and I think it's sort of tricking us, or tricking me when I look at it, and then the posts are leaning, which also, tricks the eye, I think. There's a lot of stuff going on there. All right. Little things like this little boy here. And when I say boy, I don't mean human boy, I mean floating boy. Just get rid of it. It's a distraction. Don't need it. It's gone. That's how easy it is. But good shot. Good to get out and play around with your camera during the middle of the day. But as you can see, that's before, that's after. Very easy in Lightroom to really just bring out the details and the colour, no matter when you shoot an image, and end up with something that's very usable, which is cool. All right, let's jump back across here. So thanks for sending that in, Ren. We've got one more photo that we're going to take a look at. Hopefully I can load it. There we go. Have a quick look in the chat box. What's going on? Rick's back with a coffee and a couple of custard cream bickies. That sounds nice. Tim's got 64 gigabytes of RAM. Now he's just bragging. Yeah, mine's got 32, and it said the max it can take is 32. And I got the really fast memory as well. But anyway, it was the packet. I only just did that because of these issues I was having with this live streaming. So just goes to show you what demands live streaming has on a computer. Yeah. So yeah, Barracuda said, do you do any post-processing? He said, none on that. Barracuda says, how do you find the D810 handles sensor noise on long exposure shots? Talking minutes. Let me see if I can show you. Because it's a good question. I'm going to show you one. Where are we? 126 seconds. What's up? Got a longer one than that, maybe. How many minutes are you talking about? 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 25. Okay, looks like that might be my longest. 310 seconds. All right, we're getting longer. There we go. All right, let's have a look at this one. So I'm going to show you one of my 310 second exposures. Now 310 seconds, as you can see, is 3 minutes, is it? No, 5 minutes. This was at night with a filter on. And let's go to 1:1 so we can have a look. What you'll see, I don't know how well you can see that. In fact, let me zoom in 4:1. So I want to show you. Can you see those dots? That's red dots. See that red dot? I'll zoom in even more actually. We'll go 11:1 so I can really show you. Okay. So that there is a red dot. That there is a green dot. There's a blue one there. Oh, there's a better blue one. There's a blue one. And this is what happens. You know, there's a green one. Green. Look. A couple of red ones. Now, this is a 5 minute exposure. Red one, blue ones. I mean, you can see them, they're everywhere, right? And this is a challenge. When you shoot something for 5 minutes with anything, with a sensor, you're gonna get hot pixels, because the nature of the camera is that it gets hot as you're capturing the image. So that's going to happen. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. Do I have much problems? Not really, but I just remove those with a spot healing brush, and that sorts that out. All right. Now I was going to do that third critique, but because of the little hiccup I had, I'm actually going to I'm going to do Daniel Corsland's critique on the next show, because we've run out of time. With that little hiccup that we had, took about 5 minutes out of the, well, maybe not, but anyway. Alrighty. What other questions have we got there? Lens correction, says Greg. Yeah, probably could have done with some lens correction. I didn't try it, but so I was mindful of time. But now that I've decided just to do the 2 image, we'll have a quick look and see if we can fix it with a bit of lens correction. Okay, so I'm going to go in here to lens correction, and then just add some lens correction. I mean, it's a hard one because the beach has probably got a bow in it, and it really is a toughie from that perspective. What lens do we use? 18 to 35 at 35 mil. Shouldn't have a lot of problems. I think it's just me, my eyes. I mean, this is one of those images, and this is why it's interesting to play with an image like this, because all of these posts, and Ren was there, so he can probably confirm this, but all of these posts look like they're leaning back. And the horizon, if I hit the auto, I mean, it's just that far off when I hit the auto. Even the software is confused by it, you know. So I would probably look at things like this line on the building and this spire on this church here, and just line up my grid lines with those. The trees, there's plenty of trees to line up with, and that's probably the way to get it as close as possible. That's, to me now, that looks like it's not straight again. It's just really one of those tricky images. that you could play around with for a while. That's for sure. Alrighty. Yeah, I did have a couple of other things I was going to show you, but of course my crashing computer meant that I've lost all my pre-loaded shots. That's okay. Alrighty, let's finish up just in the chat box. What do we got there? How was my scuba diving holiday? It was great. It was great. I put a few photos in the VIP group, I think. Saw turtles, sharks, moray eels. I did 15 dives, I think, in 10 days. Just absolutely love it. Just love it. Just tell people the red dots are fireflies. You could try that. I don't know who's going to believe it, but you could try it. Have a good weekend, Chance. Yeah, yourself as well. What are my thoughts on the 16 to 35 f4 on the D810? Great, fantastic. I have got that lens and love it. They're great. They're great. Ren says they are leaning. Yep, cool. We'll find a cool spot. You're in for a... Rick says, yeah, find a cool spot, mate. You're in for a melting hot weekend. Yes, it looks like we're going to get 38 degrees today and 43 tomorrow. So I think the aircon's going to get a workout and the pool will get a workout. So everyone will be happy. Alrighty. Well, just a reminder, January 24 is going to be the next VIP hangout. If you're not a VIP, head to On3Legs. Patreon.com/on3legs, and you can become a Patreon there, $2 a month, become a VIP, join the VIP group. We have an online chat that we are pretty active in as well, and you can come along and hang out with us and talk all things photography outside of these live streams. Keep an eye out for the next vlog, which I should have up in during the week for you. And have a look for what I'm going to launch as a new series of videos this year. So I'm not going to just vlog this year. I'm also going to do tips videos again. So I used to do, that's how my channel started, was by doing tips. And then I got back into the videos by vlogging. I just saw someone vlogging. I thought that was kind of cool. I'll give that a go. And I think a lot of people enjoy the vlogging style because, you know, it's not... getting taught something, it's just watching somebody. It's almost like a bit of voyeurism, isn't it? Like a reality show where you get to watch somebody go through the motions of composing and taking a shot. And then but I think there are people that are still asking me to do some of the tutorial type videos, so I'm going to jump back into doing some of those as well as the vlogging, so I'll probably alternate them week by week. The other thing, if you're on the mid-north coast, May the 19th, I am a keynote speaker at the Photography Summit on the mid-north coast. I believe all the photography clubs in mid-north New South Wales are coming together. Be a few hundred photographers there, and I'm the keynote. I'm talking on improving your landscape photography. So I'll be the keynote speaker. Looking forward to that. That's May 19th. So if you're up that way and you're in one of those clubs and somebody has mentioned that to you, I'd love to see you there. Make sure you come up and say hi. May 19, I'll be just back from Tasmania, so I should have some amazing shots, which is pretty cool. Alrighty, once again, thanks very much for tuning in to Pixel Chatter, and until next week, get out there and take some photos. You know the drill. Share your social media in the chat box. Let everyone know where you're hanging out. See you later. Have a good one. Cheers.